Good morning, everybody. This is your friendly neighborhood Broadway barber coming to you with the Lone Star reports of 1026 South Broadway Street, downtown Carrollton. So how y'all doing this morning? Hey, look, I want to talk about something I just heard. No one knows about it too much, I guess. It's not being reported too much. But we got down in El Paso area, we got aircraft, well, the airport, the border down there is closed. The flights, the flying objects, anything that's flying is, for the next 10 days, there will be no flights of any kind coming in or out of El Paso, Texas. You don't have to take my word, you can look it up yourself. Anyway, so no flights coming in or out of El Paso, Texas, and the surrounding areas of Mexico and that area down there. Down by the border, it's closed. They've got a flight, they got a border, they got a dead zone down there right now. And the government, the military, has put out a warning that any flights in the next 10 days that fly in that area and are subject to deadly force. So in retrospect, what that really means is they got something going on, the government's got something going on, they don't want anybody in the area, and if you're in the area, you've been warned, stay out of the area, or you could be shot down. Yeah, so that's what's happening now. It's happening right now as we speak. So what does that really mean? What's going on? I mean, are we taking out cartels down in Juarez? Or something about the Mexico thing? Which I'm not sure about that because we haven't been, no one spoken about that recently. We all know that there's something going on in the Middle East and stuff like that. So, El Paso has a big military installation, as you know, right? So, so that's a big military presence down there. Then about an hour away is White Sands Missile Range, out in New Mexico, right? So not too far away, about an hour's out. And that would come in that circle that they got, so what could be happening? Well, we know that we're gonna go to war eventually with Iran. The thing is, what are we gonna do and how would we go about it? In order to get things going in there, we'd have to come up with some way of jamming radars and stuff and GPSs and all this stuff. We could jam them, but we have to make sure that we do it correctly. So these are all theories I'm talking about. I don't know, just ideas. Maybe you got ideas, you can tell me what you think. But so, if we're gonna go to war with Iran, perhaps what they're trying to do in the next 10 days is testing. They don't want any aircraft flying around in the area because they don't want them to get knocked out of the sky by accident or to crash because their GPSs went haywire. So if they were doing GPS testing in order to jam GPSs of our enemy, then El Paso would be, that area down there would be a good area because it's a desert area. And we need to see what the effects of the environment would be upon the GPS and the instrumentation that we're going to be using to jam frequencies. So if you're flying in the air and the United States government starts testing GPS jamming or any other signal jamming, radar jamming, maybe when I was a young man in the military, I remember doing tests with the Army for my radar system. As I told people before, I was out of the military, the whole Army, I was like number 4 in my MOS as far as qualifications go. I was, really top notch when it came to that. And I was on a system where we were testing aircraft, before they had stealth fighters and stuff like that, we were studying. They were implementing tests on hiding aircraft from radars, and we were out there with them testing this stuff. And I remember an aircraft going up on a helicopter, and my boss would jump in the helicopter and he would fly out. And on the way out, he would talk to me on the radio, and I would say, he would tell me, he says, "Hey, are you detecting me now?" I said, "Sure." He said, "Well, where are we now?" I say, "You're about north, about 10 clicks out." And he said, "Okay." Then he would disappear. And he would turn back on, he goes, "Where you got me now?" I says, "You are now about 10 clicks east of me." He said, "Okay." And he did that for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, coming in and out, just boom, gone. Then come back on, then boom, gone. So what they were doing was they had a system on the radar, on the helicopter, that it would blacken, it would send out a signal, and it would hide the helicopter or whatever, and you wouldn't be able to see it on the radar. But you had to be good, if you. The reason why I was able to go to, because there are things that we call ghost targets on radars, and every once in a while a ghost target would show up, and you'd be tracking a ghost target, and it wasn't nothing. It was just a ghost target, and you had to be able to tell the ghost target from a real target. A lot of young players, a lot of the young guys didn't understand the concept of the ghost targets. And I was well aware of that idea. And but anyway, not try to toot my own whistle. So that was before stealth came out, and so they tested this stuff out in the desert, just like they're doing right now. But that was that was at Fort Stewart. Yeah, that was in Georgia. Yeah, I couldn't think of it. Fort Stewart, Georgia, we did that. And I remember going out to Fort Ord, California, out in the desert to train, and we did some more testing like that. So yeah, you need some area that was away from airports, because you didn't want to jam any radar, that was looking for aircraft. So if they're doing that with updated systems now, and I'm sure they have, I know they do, then you don't want to be around an airport or any place where flying aircraft are you could jam their radar and their GPS, and they'd be flying in circles somewhere, because so all of a sudden their compasses would stop, and their GPSs would go haywire. Unless they could fly by their eyes, they wouldn't know where the hell they're at. That's just a saying. So that could be one thing that they're doing, testing equipment before they start using it in Iran, which is probably more likely. The idea of having a war down in Mexico against the cartels, well, that's fine too, but we haven't been storing up any kind of military might down there that I'm aware of anyway, that would make you want to assume that there is going to be a war against Mexico and the cartels, or the American and the Mexican cartels. So I don't think that's the possibility. But I think there's got to be some reason. There has to be a good reason for you to lock down airspace over an airport like El Paso area on a border. There has to be a reason they locked down that airspace. So I don't want to make empty speculations or just empty theories, just throwing out ideas to you. Maybe somebody has an idea, or maybe somebody even knows what's going on. Maybe you could inform us. But yeah, so something's going on. It's pretty serious. What's going on? I don't know. Just speculating, like I said. Testing equipment is probably what we're doing to get ready to go into Iran, because we want to know how it's going to affect not only their equipment but ours too. And also, yeah, White Sands is more secure. So to lock down a place has to be a good reason to lock down the whole airport. Matter of fact, the whole border is closed down in the El Paso area, Juarez, New Mexico area. So something is happening. What it is, I don't want to speculate too much, but maybe somebody has any theories. Maybe you can tell me. All right? Anyway, y'all have a blessed day. Y'all take care. Amen.